Right, here's another comfy video post. Just recently someone made a post on Reddit showing how when they wanted to do out painting, they made a mosaic of the colours that they wanted in it and put that in the padding area, which I thought was a rather good idea. So they were doing the work in Photoshop, but I thought to myself, well, I can probably do the whole lot in ComfyUI. So that's resulted in this rather extensive workflow that isn't much less complicated than it looks. It's essentially, the workflow is an image processing workflow, and the generation and K-sampler workflow is very standard. So we start with our initial image, and one thing I will say about all out painting is that it's a hell of a lot easier if you have the original image you made and you can recover the original prompt and the original LURAs and everything like that. If you've just got the image and none of that, then it gets much harder. But you can still do it, but it's much harder. So that's what we start with. And the first thing we do, we start exactly the same as way you with any other in painting. You pad the image for the area, which is this here. You can see that that's the mask, and that is very standard. So we're going 256 pixels wider, and the join is feathered. You can see here it's feathered for 50 pixels. You can mess about with that figure. It makes a little bit of difference. So what we're going to do, bring this bit in, is take a little thin strip out of here. You can see my cursor working up down. And you do that with an image crop. And this is the result. A little thin strip. You see a little thin strip down there. I chose this image because it's like a worst case. and I want some more trees over here. I don't want more domes and stuff. So I want to make more trees and sky. So we take this little thin slither and then we resize it to the width of this white piece here, 256. See how the numbers repeat, 256. So we're enlarging this, stretching it out horizontally to 256 pixels, and then we're pixelating it. So that's breaking it up into little squares or big squares. And this is another thing you can adjust to see how to get a better image. So if you make the square sizes bigger, then the result will be more of a change and more general. The smaller, then you're putting more detail in. I've settled on 16. But it worked perfectly well at 10 and at 24/130. Then, and this is quite an important bit, I flip the image so that the pixels against the new edge are a little bit more like. I think that might be important in some. It's probably not important in this particular circumstance. Then we have another operation here, which is quite separate. So we start here, and you see that you can see the resultant piece that we're going to drop in. We're going to drop it in on the right hand side of the image. This is the extension in its nascent form. So to make this more changeable, more easy to change, the pixelation has helped, but I want to put some noise over the top of it as well to help the process along. So I use a noise generator. It's called random noise. I leave absolutely everything as the node appears. I don't want to change any of these at all. You can do it, just increases the number of reds and colours. I want an average lot of noise with with a full mix of colours, and I want that slither to be the same size as the slither here. So it's the same size, same proportion as this. So I wanted to perfectly lay over that. And that's the resultant slab of lovely noise. Look at it. All different colours. Then I mix that on top of this pixelated image over here. So it goes into a simple image blend node, very simple. And this is another thing you can change. If you want a lot of change, then you have half. If you want less change, then this is 75, so it's only 25% noise. And then that goes into a color correct, as you see here, because I need to be able to adjust the contrast and the brightness. I don't want to change anything else. So here is our noised and pixelized image here. So if we go zoom in on that, you can see it's pixelated and it's noised as well. And I've adjusted it brightness wise. I adjust it just with these two until it looks about right, essentially, until the tones look about right. And then this image here, once it's corrected, goes into another composite which isn't masked. It can be masked, but it's not masked, doesn't need to be masked. And this mixes this image with the noise, which results in this, and this composite mask drops the bit of new noisy stuff, which you can see closely here, into position. And that is the whole of the thing, really. See, that my original image was 1536. So the 1536 appears there, and so forth. So what we've done essentially is take a slither out of our original image, make it wider, pixelate it, put noise over the top, and drop it into the space where we want our in-painting. Okay, and then that image is piped straight across into an ordinary VA encode. You don't need one for in-painting or out-painting or anything like that. But the one trick you're doing is you don't want to change the rest of your image, so you're using a mask from your pad image for out-painting. You're using that mask as a set latent noise mask, which means that it's only going to noise for the image to it's doing image to image essentially. It's only going to do image to image on this area here, plus the extension of the mask, the soft edge, plus the 50 pixel soft edge. So that the Pixelise 50 pixel soft edge goes down this line here. So many in paintings, there's all sorts of hugely complicated workflows to do the join. But this, you don't need them with this. So you're getting rid of probably 2K samplers and God knows what else. Anyway, and certainly it's a lot quicker. So that is all there is to it. There's no more to it at all. And then because it's just straight image to image rather than in painting, so you're not in painting, you can set the denoise to whatever you want. The higher the denoise, the more the change. If you want more change, you can also increase the amount of this noise here. So you've got two ways. What I like about this method is it's very controllable. For example, when I did my first generations here, the sky was a little bit darker on the right hand side, but I can increase the brightness here a single digit at a time until I get a perfect match. You think I'm boasting? Well, we're going to have a look over here. And there's nothing unusual in this at all. Denoise set at 70. It works perfectly well at 60. I wanted a little bit of more imagination, so I put it up to 70. Everything else, you must keep your seed fixed. And ideally the same seed that made the original image. But you can change the seed. This seed has changed actually, because I went looking for a better join. And here's our join. Can you see the join? Well, I can't see one. Maybe you can. Maybe it's along here. It's up here somewhere. It's actually very hard to find. But you see how it's added the changes. It's done them very nicely. And it's just trees. It's put a bit of tree in the sky there. I really don't mind that. That tree in the sky comes from these little dark bits that are in there. If I made it a little bit brighter, those trees would probably go. But I quite like the trees. Let's put a bit of a castle in the background, which I don't mind that too much. Seems to be the same as those two castles. They're obviously a very popular style of elvish castle that's doing the rounds. Anyway, so as you see, the join is pretty much completely seamless. This cloud ends on the line down here. But it even extends this tree across to the other side. The other interesting possibility with doing this as well is that I could easily take a strip from the centre here, widen the image, drop this section to the left, that section to the right, and I could add a large chunk in the middle if I wanted to, or even a new section of building in the middle here. You would have to make a few more composites and masks, but it should work perfectly fine. You should be able to extend any of these areas at all to make the image as wide as you wanted. And as I say, even you could even take a section right out of the middle here and widen that. You know, it only needs a little bit more messing around with the dropping with the image composites, the composite masked nodes. So you can compose any numbers of bits into here is what I'm getting at, and it'll work fine. You could do several and then generate them all at the same time, which might save time, though it might be a bit fiddly to set up. I probably wouldn't bother. Okay, I hope that is useful. I imagined everyone did in painting this way, and when I don't do out painting, sorry. And when I looked at how other people did it, I found I was doing it a completely different way to any other people. But the person who thought up the idea of breaking this into blocks, it was a great idea, and I've forgotten his name, but and it does make quite a lot of difference because you can really simplify this area or have it complicated as you want. Okay, so I hope that's informative, and I will put the workflow in the words underneath the video. Okay, thank you very much.